everyone, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Terry Cutler. I've been in IT and cybersecurity for the last 20 years. I actually come from a background working with Novell, right, the old software company. And in 2005, I started getting inspired by watching shows like CSI and 24. I'm like, how does Colby O'Brien break in all these systems so fast? And found out there was actually a course called a Certified Ethical Hacker. And I got the privilege of training with the FBI and the CIA in my class in Washington. And armed with that knowledge, I've been sharing tips and tricks on how to keep safe online for corporations and individuals. So I've been teaching the schools for especially how to protect the kids online. And eventually the media started calling me, and I became a go-to expert for whenever there's a data breach that happens or cyberbullying or any of this stuff. And then eventually I started getting some major accolades. In 2017, I won the Cybersecurity Excellence Award for Educator of the Year. And then I won the International Cybersecurity and Intelligence Awards for Educator of the Year and Leadership Award. And then this year, I actually was named #1 most influential person by IFSEC Global. So I really look forward to sharing my experiences with you as far as education. Well, the problem we're having right now in our industry is that we're almost 2 million personnel short in our field. And sometimes there's a misconception about cybersecurity. They say, oh, I want to do cybersecurity. But cybersecurity is so large because inside cybersecurity, you've got policy work, you've got forensics, you've got incident response, you've got ethical hacking, you have all these things. And the other challenge we're having is that the experts aren't necessarily collaborating together. So stuff that would have been shared to thwart a cyber attack is not being done. So this is something that the industry desperately needs right now. And one of the questions I get asked all the time from students that are starting to study in cybersecurity is, well, how do I get a job? Right, all the employers are asking for people that have experience, and they're just fresh out of school. Well, as you know, in our industry, we're about 2 million personnel short. So say you're taking the field of cybersecurity and ethical hacking. Well, one thing you can do apart from the ethical hacker training is that you can take the offensive security courses, which is called the OSCP. This training is about 100 hours long, and the exam itself is 24 hours. And once you've passed that exam, then pretty much you don't need an interview. One of the biggest problems we're having right now is around ransomware. So ransomware, if you're not familiar with this, is a piece of malicious software that gets installed on your computer and encrypts all of your data and holds it hostage until you pay a ransom in Bitcoin, which is an untraceable currency. So say you're a company and the receptionist receives an email and she opens up this executable or this fake looking document. It begins to encrypt all of her files and it encrypts all of the server's data, and nobody can work after this point. So to recover from a ransomware attack takes about almost 100 hours. So you're either faced with restoring your data or you have to pay the ransom. So one of the biggest critical points you got to do is make sure you test your backups. Make sure they're actually working, because you never know if you get hit by a ransomware. Because now the newer versions don't require anybody to click on anything anymore. So if you're running an old version of software that has been unpatched, well, the ransomware can just detect that and actually get right in with nobody clicking on it. So the other challenge we're facing is phishing attacks. So many people receive so many emails, and the common feedback I get from them is that, well, I never click on links from people I don't know. Well, now what's happening is that the scammers and the hackers are very familiar with that tactic, and they're actually disguising names that you already know because they've researched you first. And say they have a link in the email that's linking to a specific website. Well, the trick is to always hover over the link before clicking on anything. And there's ways for us to do what's called a double bluff, where we make it appear as if you're going to go to that specific URL, but if you don't pay attention to the bottom left-hand corner to where you're really going to go, you're going to end up on a malicious-looking website which may be able to steal your credentials. One of the other challenges that plagues the IT industry is passwords. Like, so many people create such terribly weak passwords that can be broken in moments. And people believe that they have a 4-character password that, oh, no one's going to guess it, or no one's going to want to hack me, I'm small fish. Well, people don't realize that when you log into these websites that get hacked later on, your password can be broken in like 90 seconds. And then you might receive a sextortion email that says, hey, I'm Johnny, you don't know who I am, but I have your password, and here's your real password that you've used in the past, and I've installed malware on your computer from an adult website that you visited, and if you don't pay me $900 in Bitcoin, well, I'm going to send this video to all of your friends. So it's very important to create an unbreakable password. So to create an unbreakable password, you want to have between 16 and 25 characters long. Now, I know what you're thinking, right? Is this guy nuts? Like, how am I going to remember a password this long? So if you think of song lyrics or phrases such as, I had a great day at work 2018, So you just remove the spacing, capitalize each letter of the word, and that password alone will take 10 years to break. And if you really want to make it unbreakable, replace the O's with a 0 and the A's with an @ symbol, and that thing will take like 39 centuries to crack. So you definitely want to do that, and also install what's called two-factor authentication for all of your accounts, emails, Xbox, everything. Another challenge that we're going to be facing in our industry is the Internet of Things. This is where you're bringing consumer devices into the corporations. One perfect example that happened to a casino in Vegas, where these guys have ultra secure cybersecurity policies and practices in place. But what happened was they brought in this glorified fish tank, okay, and had a remote sensor on it to be able to monitor the cleanliness of the water and be able to report back. Well, the hackers actually got in through the fish tank to be able to get access to the corporate network. So you have to really be careful when you're doing your audits to make sure that you're actually scanning for all these consumer electronics that are attached to your corporations, because you never know if they could be hacked, because security is not exactly the top of mind on these devices. So be careful of that. One of the other challenges I run into in my field is around job board postings. Whenever I do reconnaissance on a company before I begin to attack them, I look at what job postings they've been posted. And sometimes there's a post for an IT administrator, and they list all the technologies and software that are running inside their company. Now, as an ethical hacker, I could be building my battle plan and collecting all this information without even touching your network yet. So you're providing me all this detail. And there's not too much you can do about it because it's required to do business. Because if you don't specify that, you're going to get receptionists applying for an IT role, which might not work. So you're actually giving the attackers all this information up front before the attack is actually done, and they're building their battle plan. So be cognizant of what you're posting online. Now, one of the things that really impressed me here at Willis College is, one, the size of this place. It's so spacious. Two was the cutting edge technology that they have for cybersecurity in the academy. And it's all the skills that are required for them to become employable. And it's very, very, very impressive. You have to see it.